Hello, friends and family from around the world. This is Mike with your Morning Dew, daily events worldwide, and we are on February 12th, 2021. Welcome to another surviving day on the planet. Welcome to the Daily Dew, looking at space weather, world weather, earthquakes, volcanoes. Starting out here, looking at the sun. 304 angstroms. Incoming images, that large plasma filament has destabilized. Looking at outgoing images here, had a large plasma filament rip away from the southeastern side of the sun there. A very tall one as well. Shows on the LASCO 2 image. Looking here at another light, you can really see that southern region filament in between the coronal hole and that inactive sunspot. Looking here at another light, you can really see the coronal holes stretching towards each other in the equator. Northern coronal hole, southern coronal hole, and one sunspot to talk about. Looking at a real-time solar wind, as we're seeing an increase now, coronal hole wind stream is expected overnight tonight. We're just seeing things bump up now to about 386 kilometers per second. Looking here at the LASCO 2 image, and you can see on the right-hand side there, that is outgoing, there was a CME. Those are the first few images coming in there, as well a little bit of time missing, about 4 hours missing there. So geomagnetic activity remains low. Schumann resonance today is low, a power of 6, a very low. I haven't seen it like this for a while. So we're a low power of 10.9, frequency minimum 7.42. Looking at earthquakes here the last 24 hours. Just recently here we had a 4.1 in California. And you can see there's been a few minor rumbles afterwards. As well, 2.7, 2.6 reported Stanley, Idaho today. 2.5 here in Texas. And as well, eastern United States, Virginia with a 2.8 and Tennessee with a 2.6, or vice versa, 2.8 in Tennessee. And the swarm is back into the Caribbean now, seeing minor earthquakes increase there. South American plate, pretty quiet today, 4.3 reported, and as well a 4.5 in Chile. Southern Hemisphere, 4.9 reported there. Shetland Islands, 4.6 recorded here in Turkey today. As well, a large 5.9 strong earthquake in Tajikistan. A lot of people in the live stream hopping in there saying they felt that one early this morning. As well, West Ring of Fire is very active right now. Lots of 4s right across Japan down into Philippines. And they're not shallow quakes either. So a lot of deep quakes today through the Philippines, Japan, and as well Indonesia. The Banda Sea with a 4.6. And as well Papua New Guinea with a 4.6. Seems to be the number today, 4.6. And then, of course, still seeing pretty sizable earthquakes here. Loyalty Islands region, 5.2. And 3 very deep earthquakes today. 4.3 there, Fiji region, 580. And as well, 520 kilometer depth. New Zealand as well, 4.5. What is going on there? Hawaii still seeing minor shakes as well, Pahala and into Kilauea. 4.2 Kamchatsk on the shoreline of Shevelech. And as well, watching the increase in activity through Alaska now that low pressure system is heading into the peninsula. As well, I wanted to point out today, USGS reporting a few small earthquakes in Yellowstone Lake today. Well, not a few, but one 1.1, a very small earthquake, but you don't see them often. And we'll be keeping an eye on Yellowstone earthquakes. Carrying on here, let's have a look at the last 7 days for earthquakes. And you can see a lot of deep, elevated rings. So deep earthquakes this week, and as well, pretty quiet North American plate, considering. As well, quiet throughout Russia and into Alaska. Watch for that to increase over the next few days. But you can see across the West Ring of Fire and down into Loyalty Islands, very active recently. Deep earthquakes as well. So going through quite a shift right now on the planet. I mean, with landslides and earthquakes, tsunamis, glacier landslides. Our world is changing before our eyes. Let's have a look at here at the Pacific Disaster Center. Major systems spinning there, Atlantic and Pacific. Volcanoes erupting, Popo, Klitschevskoy, Rung, Indonesia, Fuego, Guatemala, Sangay in Ecuador, as well Sabancaya in Peru. Many earthquakes there being reported. Pacaya, Guatemala, Reventador, Chivluch, Era. So that's about 15 volcanoes being updated today. And we're still looking at about 44 volcanoes. Watch for the volcanic activity report to come tomorrow. And we'll give you a rundown on all of the active and erupting volcanoes. Looking here, high surf and strong winds through Hawaii with that large low. And across the United States. Across the United States, winter conditions and as well extreme cold conditions in Canada. And that's going to be sweeping southward through the central United States. So heads up, stay warm. You're already dealing with a pretty brutal winter. And you guys have got some more winter storms to come. So be ready, stay aware and prepared, and stay tuned to Morning Dew, giving you daily updates, world weather, earthquakes, and disaster alerts. We have one tropical cyclone still. Tropical Cyclone Ferrari is in the middle of the Indian Ocean, all by itself, getting ready to head to Mauritius. And then, monsoon rains continue across Indonesia. I wanted to show you here at Null School. This is our upper level wind streams, and something dramatic has happened over the last 36 hours, and I've been documenting it in the last few videos over the past week. We've seen a lot of changes. But looking at these upper level winds, they've really picked up, and we've got that split polar vortex across the United States. A lot of changes happening in our atmosphere. We're going to be keeping an eye on this. Grand solar minimum much? Let's get to the 5-day forecast brought to you by Meteor Mike. Starting out here, Calgary, Alberta. Still watching that huge system in the Atlantic and the Pacific. 5-day forecast doesn't show it changing that much. Here in Calgary, it's going to be warming up by Wednesday, maybe -4, but still minus double digits for the next week. As the cold conditions continue, high pressure ridge moves in and keeps things pretty much dry and cold. But for the United States, you have a low pressure system moving in across the northwest and heading eastward. But watch for extreme weather to develop as it gets fed from the Gulf of Mexico and heads east along the southeastern seaboard of the United States and into Atlantic Canada. But on the top side of this storm, watch for Ontario to receive quite a bit of snow over the next few days. High pressure ridge settling in and a lot of flurries. Lake effect snow for Ontario. Across BC, coastline inundated by about 3 low pressure systems this week. 1, 2, and then the third one coming later in the week. Pretty much a lot of snow for BC interior. Rain on the coastline overlooking the Atlantic. That low pressure system still spinning in the open waters. It is now starting to branch off. One is heading towards the United Kingdom. Low pressure center here developing in the Mediterranean. Going to bring some stormy conditions to Greece and eastward to Turkey and down into Iraq and Iran. Watch for extreme weather and heavy rains as that system moves into the region. Definitely be on watch. Across Russia and China, cold temperatures continue. Siberian polar vortex keeping the temperatures very chilly at minus 44 and colder. And then West Pacific here, watch for this intense system to come out of China and affect most of Japan islands and North Korea, South Korea. Watch for snowy conditions, very strong winds as this system picks up and heads into the Pacific. Very intense low pressure systems, very dense lower level troughs, and deep. Just look at the size of this low pressure system still. As soon as the center of the low gets into Alaskan Peninsula, it'll start breaking off. But just crazy weather events. 5-day not so normal forecast brought to you by Meteor Earth, Meteor Mike. Overlooking Australia. Watch for cooler conditions over the next couple days as the rain moves in from the north, but it's also going to bring thunderstorm conditions across northeastern parts of the continent and as well northwest. Watch for warmer temperatures to come in later in the week, but that is the transition into spring. Watch for thunderstorm conditions across Australia. Overlooking Africa, still a very sticky situation as they've got that low pressure center hanging around the coastline, and then it looks like it's going to jog a little bit eastward to Madagascar and then maybe back to Africa. So that low pressure system has already dumped tons of rain, and it looks like over the next 5 days it's going to continue to do so. So thoughts and prayers going out to a lot of the people in South Africa. Going to leave you here looking at the southern hemisphere versus the northern. Major systems spinning around the planet. I want to thank you all for joining Morning Dew, daily events worldwide. Thank you for over 22,000 followers. Stay aware and prepared. Stay young and have fun. And get your Morning Dew. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends and family from across the world.